One of the most popular comedy series of all time is the American version of The Office. For a big part, that is thanks to the amazing cast. A cast that could have turned very differently. Let's have a look. Every year, dozens of new sitcoms and comedy series pop up. Yet very few of them manage to make it past their first season. While others might stretch it to maybe, 6, 7, even 10 before someone pulls the plug. But once in a while, there is this series that reaches such an exceptional level of success that they easily make it to 10 or even 12 seasons, and when they end up closing that studio door behind them, they leave people wanting more. It is a very short list of series, and somewhere at the top is The Office, both the British and the US version. But look, if you held a croissant against my head and forced me to choose between one of those, I would go for the US version. But that is not a fair battle. I mean, for the croissant. The US version had way more episodes. And while I do have a lot of respect for their British colleagues, that US cast was close to perfect. And that's just it. The cast is critical in the case of a comedy series. Sure, great writing is fundamental, but you not only need a cast that delivers the lines as intended, but that can also read between those lines. A group of actors that has the chops to own each of these characters and the chemistry between them. That is a tall order for any group of people. But the cast of The Office, they had it. Their single performances and the dynamic between the whole group is what got them to those high levels, to that legendary status. And look, I'm not only talking about Steve Carell, Jenna Fisher, Rainn Wilson, and John Krasinski. It is literally every single one of them. Now, that whole show could have gone in a very different direction. The list of actors that auditioned for all of those roles is both lengthy and surprising. It actually includes some really big names, and they would definitely have given a very different take on all of those characters. In this video, I want to go over 10 of them, mainly for the bigger roles, and like I said, there are some surprises in there. Some of them even made it to the show in the end, albeit in very different roles. But let me start out with Michael Scott, the regional manager. It's a pivotal role, especially since he is the boss. And you can tell once that Steve Carell left, yeah, it all kind of went downhill a little bit.
I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them.
Now, he is one of the few characters in that show that interacts with everybody on the office floor, but also the people down in the stockroom and corporate. So that makes him extra important. And the creators of the show were well aware of his importance, so they had given themselves a few options, different ways of approaching this role. For instance, Nick Offerman. He's an extremely funny actor. His dry delivery and all of his comedy.
I'm Ron Swanson.
And the fact that he looks like a runaway lumberjack made him into a very interesting option. But he would have made a very different Michael Scott, because his face only has one mode: confidence. Something that Michael Scott lacks, if we are honest. But one of the producers and writers on The Office later co-created Parks and Recreations. It was a similar kind of a mockumentary show, and Nick got to play one of the most iconic roles in that series, Ron Swanson. It is another must-see. Someone that also would have left us with a very different Michael Scott is Alan Tudyk, known from, well, basically everything at this point. He has been in Firefly, he has his own show about an alien that is here on Earth, and he did about 4,628 different voices in animated shows, including my favorite, Hey Hey in Moana. I love that chicken. Oh, it's a rooster. He would definitely have been able to add a little bit of insecurity to Michael Scott, but it might have ended up being a little too goofy, quirky, which could have made him unrelatable. I mean, Michael might have his weird moments.
I declare bankruptcy!
But in the end, he's very much one of the team. Alan might have felt a little alien. No pun intended. However, someone that came really close to what Michael should have been was Bob Odenkirk. He not only auditioned for the role, he actually got it. He was on the call sheet for the first season, or for the pilot. But the producers actually wanted Steve Carell. Bob Odenkirk was their second choice. But Steve Carell was caught up in another pilot that fell through. So when that fell through, Bob had to go and Steve took his place. Now, don't feel too bad for Bob. He ended up landing a role in Breaking Bad, Saul Goodman, and he eventually even got his own spin-off, so he did great. On top of that, in one of the later seasons, he actually got to play a guest role. He played a potential boss for Pam. And in that guest role, he really showed that he would have made a really good Michael.
Pam Halpert is my name. I've been at Dunder Mifflin for 7 years, 8 years, 8 years, man.
But I still think Steve Carell was just a little bit better. Because Steve Carell just brought a lot of heart to that character. The perfect mix of inappropriate confidence, insecurity, youth, and both wisdom. He could be both silly but also be the boss. The perfect casting. The same goes for Jim Halpert. One of the actors that auditioned for that role was Adam Scott, who is currently kicking ass in that Apple Plus series, Severance, and he was also part of Parks and Rec. He did a great job over in that series, but he's no Jim. Jim needed to have that classical boy next door look, that basketball player that ended up becoming a paper salesman. Adam looks more like a BMW salesman that used to blow up frogs with a firecracker when he was young. Yeah, you know that type. I mean, sorry dude, but it's true. John Cho, who you might know as Sulu in those rebooted Star Trek movies. And for his role in Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, that was... that movie, man. Well, he also auditioned for the role. I mean, he's funny, he's an experienced actor, charming as hell, but how do I put this? He just is too pretty to play Jim. Look, yeah, I know John Krasinski was People Magazine's sexiest man alive in 2024. I know that. But that is that classical American boy roughish look that he has. John Cho just has that resting stud face. That, you know? It wouldn't work. Resting stud face. Is that a thing, actually? They should make it a thing. Some people really are cursed with a resting stud face. I'm not. Moving on. Pam. There's a name on this list that really surprises me. Kathryn Hahn, Agatha Harkness from the MCU. She was also in Parks and Recreations, by the way.
Steven, be careful. Pancho!
And that show is now starting to sound like it's taped together with failed auditions from The Office, but trust me, it's not true. It was just a better match with all of those characters in that setting. And to be fair, I can see why Kathryn did not get the part of Pam. Just like Jim is that basketball player that turned salesman, Pam is that girl in your class that always got an A, that was drawing, that could draw really beautifully. That was good, that was fun, but ended up doing nothing with her life because of that jock she ended up marrying, or was going to marry. The classic deadbeat boyfriend. Kathryn might have been a bit too spicy for that role, a little too energetic. I think that is the word I'm looking for. But that makes her the perfect Agatha. A name that is a little less known, but that also threw her name in the hat, as they say, for the role of Pam, was Anne Dudek. I personally know her as Amber in House or Precious in Friends. She was the ex-girlfriend of Phoebe's future husband, who was played by Ant-Man. I can't think of his name, so I'm just kind of taking huge laps around it. Damn it. But she also had parts in How I Met Your Mother, The Mindy Project, Mad Men, and so many more series. So she's been around. She has experience.
You think we're gonna go to the Hamptons with my face looking like that?
And to be fair, she could have made a pretty good Pam. According to sources, she came pretty close, but I do understand why they went for Jenna Fisher to play Pam. She did a really great job at putting Pam down as that innocent young woman that had her whole life planned in front of her. She was going to marry, have a kid. You know, the whole white picket fence thing. Which always comes with a huge dose of, naivety. But throughout the series, that character changed so much. So she needed to arrange to play both the old Pam and the new Pam, which Jenna Fisher did perfectly. Someone that had a bit of a reverse arc from Pam is Dwight. He actually went through a very different arc of growth where he ended up with some empathy, of all things. Among the many people that auditioned for that role was Seth Rogen. Yeah, that guy. That was the most surprising name on this list for me, at least. Well, maybe. The last one is kind of spectacular too, but yeah. I don't know, guys. Seth Rogen as Dwight? That would have been very different. Someone that got a little closer to what Rainn Wilson ended up doing was Patton Oswalt, best known for voicing Remy in Ratatouille, the Disney movie. But you might also have seen him in King of Queens, and he actually had a pretty big part in the later seasons of 2.5 Men.
Huzzah! I'm Ted! I'm Ted! I'm Ted too, guys!
Andy!
I think out of all the auditions that did not end up getting the role, I think he came closest, or he did the best job in my opinion. He does have that bit of a loner vibe to him, but with that edge that you need to play Dwight. But the thing is that he might have been a little bit too grounded. I mean, Rainn Wilson put down such an iconic character from day one, even in his audition tapes. He knew who Dwight was. It was perfect. Which brings me to the last name on this list, who is also very iconic for the series. Not one of the leads, but definitely memorable. Kevin Malone, the big man baby. In some cases, literally. And he's being played by Brian Baumgartner. But one of the other actors that came pretty close was Eric Stonestreet, who later landed the role of Cameron Tucker in Modern Family.
I'm breaking the window!
Emergency assistance, this is Trina.
Well, we locked our baby in the car and people are judging us.
I swear to God, I'm gonna break it!
Those are very different roles, let's be honest. And I think Eric not getting the role as Kevin in The Office was both a blessing for The Office and for him personally. A win-win. He did such a great job playing Cameron in Modern Family. And Brian will forever be Kevin. Like it or not.
It's a recipe passed down from Malone's for generations. It's probably the thing I do best.
Anyways, that was all of them. All 10. That was a pretty lengthy video, but we made it. I think. I'm not sure. But let me know in the comments who your favorite character is in The Office and which other actors might have auditioned for some roles. But for now, that was it. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. It always helps me out. I also want to thank our members. We could not make these videos without you guys. You too can join the family by becoming a member right here on YouTube. But above all, make sure to subscribe because I'm going to be back with a new video very soon. Till then, take care of yourself, take care of each other. Bye bye.